All right, friends, one option you have for the Plastic Problem Podcast Project, say that 5 times fast, is to use a tool called Flipgrid. So I have that link here as part of the assignment. And when you click it, it's going to bring you to the home screen. It reminds you what it is that you have to have in your podcast for it to be successful. At this point, you have a script that should guide you through that process. This could also be the place where you record your song. So if you're somebody that's musically inclined and want to do that, that's obviously an option here too. But if I click Record a Response, it's going to prompt me open here. And then you can see my face is on the screen. But if you go to Options and click Mic Only, the camera part turns off, and now you can just record the voice of the participant only. So that's an option. I'll just show you before I kind of get into this a little bit more detail. Another option you have actually is to not choose the mic only option, but to instead go to Effects and go Photo and upload a picture, and then take that picture and actually stretch it across the screen. So if you wanted to sort of be hidden, but have a picture be shown in place, maybe it's a picture of plastic, or you come up with a cool title slide here of what your podcast is called by you and create your own graphic, that would be really cool. I'd love to see that. That's another option. But let's pretend we're going voice only here just for the sake of what we have. So then if I click this, it's going to count me in and start to record my voice. And we'll go from there. It's going to talk and blah, blah, blah. Okay, awesome. It's recording my voice. And one thing you should note about this tool is what's really good about it is it's super easy. But one thing you can't do is actually edit your voice once you get done recording. So if you do want to choose this tool, I would suggest recording like a paragraph at a time. Record the first paragraph, pause, kind of get yourself ready for the second paragraph, take a drink, whatever, then click record again and continue to go forward. And then once all of your sections are done, you would move on to the next step. If you mess up bad, you just go here and go redo. It will ask you if you want to cancel it, or it's usually cancel or confirm that choice. And let's pretend, though, for the sake of this demonstration here, that I liked what I had. I'd click next. We'll go from there. It's going to talk and blah, blah, blah. Okay, awesome. I'm going to pause so you can hear my voice for a second. So the only option you have any editing in this particular version is just to, if you wanted to, go from there. It's going to talk and blah, blah, is to trim the beginning and end. So if you kind of took a little bit while to get started or a little while to stop it, that's really the only thing you can do. You can also delete here and start back, but let's pretend that's what I want. It's going to talk and blah, blah, blah. Go on to the next step. Here I would, display name would be my name. Title it The Plastics Podcast Project. So you title it The Plastics Podcast Project. You click Submit, and then I'll get the link. This is the link to your project, so if you copy that link, you could then paste it into the link sharing document, which would be your next step. And so, again, the pros of using Flipgrid for your podcast or song or whatever it might be is it's really easy. The cons are you can't sort of edit pieces out in the middle. So if you're looking for something a little bit more, I'll call it a little bit harder, but a little bit better in terms of the editing, we're going to take a closer look now at something called WeVideo. All right, my friends, Mr. A here to talk to you about WeVideo and how you would use this really cool tool to create a podcast. So when you sign in, your screen will look a little bit different than mine as a teacher and as an admin in here in WeVideo. But you should have the option to create a podcast as one of the choices. So click Podcast. It'll load things up for you. You're going to choose where it is that you're doing the project. So I guess I'll put in podcast here. And it's pretty simple. When I click the word record here, it's going to count down 3, 2, 1, go. And it's going to use the mic that's been linked here. So you can see up here I have this icon. In fact, the first time you do this, you may have to grant permission for WeVideo to be able to use your microphone on your Chromebook. And you would go ahead and record your voice. Now, it's going to keep going, ongoing. And I would suggest in this tool that you just sort of let it ride. And by that I mean I would just record the whole thing. And then when you go back and listen, if you make a mistake, you have the ability to sort of snip it out and remove it from your project. You could always stop and start the microphone each time, but you'll find that it takes a little bit more time to do it that way. So it really is up to you, but I suggest doing it all in one fell swoop. Now, the more you practice it, obviously the better it's going to be, so I suggest you rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. Think about your inflection, think about your intonation, think about making sure that you enunciate your words, and these things will go a long way to make sure that your project comes out the best that it can be. Also be sure that you're recording it in a spot that's quiet. This way you're not going to pick up any background noise as you go. So let's pretend my podcast is just finishing up here. I'm going to click stop. I can review it if I want. I can cancel it. I can record it again right away and be like, I don't want this. Or I'm going to choose save and assume that I like most of it. Now it'll take a little bit of time depending on your internet speed. You're going to see it's going to connect. And now you can see here I've got this file, right? And it shows you the wavelengths here of the audio. in order to be able to edit it, you might want to zoom in on things a little bit. So to do that, the slider is partially hidden here by the program. But if I slide this over, you can see what I've done is I've zoomed in, and it'll make it easier to snip things out. And then if I know that I messed up, let's say right here with this gap, if I put the playhead there and I click the scissors, and then I move it to the part, again, let's pretend this whole part was a mess up. And I click the scissor again, it's created that little space here that's separated from the others, and then I can delete it, and then eventually slide this guy down to get rid of that gap. So I'll go through and I'll listen to it again. Any flub ups or mess ups I can delete out. And again, if you did like a separate recording each time, you might have these different files and have to slide them closer together. Again, I suggest one full recording and then snipping out the bad parts. When you're done, you're going to click Finish. Let's pretend it's like perfect. I listened to it. It's exactly the way I want it. And this is if I wanted to do an audio-only project. If you wanted, you also could create like a banner or a picture that goes along with your podcast. And let's just pretend this is what it is. And so if I had like this picture and it had the name of my podcast and the episode and stuff, if I put it in the video column here and I just dragged it all the way across, that would be what people would see on their screens while they listen to my podcast. So you don't have to change the pictures up, but if you made like a podcast cover image, if you will, you might want to do that. But let's pretend I didn't want to do that. I just wanted it to be my voice. If I click Finish, it'll have me name it, right? So it's called the Plastic Podcast or whatever. Click Set. Now it's going to say, how do you want to export it, or how do you want to like finalize it? I want it to be audio only. Remember, if I put a picture in there, I would go video, of course, but I'm choosing audio only. And then I would choose my drive to, and you may have to give it permission. And then mark it as public. This way, anybody that wants to listen to it will be able to do so. Then you'll click Export. And then it will take some time. It'll say that you can actually close out of the browser, and you'll receive an email in your Gmail letting you know that this file is in fact done. But I'm going to just wait for it, because another thing you can do, and this is what I'm going to do here, is you actually can also download it from this screen. So if you click Download here, or even if you click Share, this is the link right now. Because I marked it as public, that link should be able to be listened to by anybody. But I would download it just as a backup plan here, and then I would save it to my drive so I had it. Okay? So that's a little bit about podcasting in WeVideo.